Hello class, my name is Brooke Wren, and my presentation is on esophageal atresia, also known as EA. The reason why I chose this topic is because I was born with this birth defect. This is one of my major birth defects I have, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to spread awareness about this rare condition. I had to have surgery to correct this birth defect on my second day of life. However, it was corrected, but I am still affected by this every day. Next, I'm going to discuss the normal anatomy of the upper gastrointestinal system, since esophageal atresia affects the upper GI. First, the upper GI includes the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the trachea, the lungs, and the epiglottis. Food will enter the esophagus and go down into the stomach, while the epiglottis covers the trachea so food does not enter into the lungs to cause choking. In this normal anatomy, food will just enter the esophagus and into the stomach smoothly, but with esophageal atresia, it will actually create a pouch, so food will get stuck and will need to be corrected immediately after birth. So, what is esophageal atresia? It is a birth defect that affects the esophagus and the trachea. It is an abnormal connection between the two body parts, and by two body parts, I mean esophagus and trachea. So in this, some types will create a pouch with the esophagus, as in type A, and in some types, the esophagus will be connected to the trachea, like this, create a pouch and a connection, so that food will enter the trachea and also food will come back up and cause vomiting. Some types will include the lower portion of the esophagus being connected with the trachea, while the upper part creates a pouch, or both will be connected, or one will be connected straight to the stomach with some portion connecting to the trachea. Here's another picture of the different types of esophageal atresia. As you can see, this is an example of a fistula where the esophagus is connected to the trachea. Here's an atresia where it creates a pouch and is disconnected. Here, the upper portion is connected to the trachea. This part, the lower portion, is connected to the trachea, and this one is connected to both. There are different types of esophageal atresia, and this one is type A. Type A causes a pouch, so food will come back up, but the trachea will be normal, and the stomach will not be connected to the other part of the esophagus. Type B will create a part that is connected to the trachea, causing food to enter the lungs, which will cause choking. In type C, it will create a pouch in the upper part, but be connected to the trachea and the stomach, so air will enter the stomach. This is the most common one. Type D, food will enter the trachea and into the stomach, but also air will enter the stomach. Type E, where both the trachea and esophagus will connect, and so air will enter the stomach and food will enter the trachea. Some conditions that involve EA will be trisomy 13, 18, and 21, and Vactural syndrome. Other birth defects that can occur with EA are skeletal deformities, intestinal or anal deformities, renal defects, or heart defects. The birth defect forms during 4 to 8 weeks after conception. Diagnosis only occurs after birth since it is hard to detect for a defect in the esophagus or trachea while the baby is in the uterus. The only treatment for EA is surgical correction. Surgery occurs after birth to connect the trachea and esophagus to their respective locations. This will correct the birth defect and allow the baby to eat and breathe normally. So as you can see, the doctor will make an incision under the side of the armpit, connect the esophagus, and connect the trachea if the esophagus is connected. When the baby is born and is looked over for birth defects, some signs of the birth defect will occur if it has EA. Some signs that the baby is born with EA are frothing at the mouth after feedings, vomiting, difficulty breathing, choking, or having blue skin. 1 in every 4,300 babies are born with EA here in the United States, so it is considered a rare birth defect. Doctors currently do not know why EA occurs, however it is widely assumed that it happens due to genetics. This is because many conditions, like for example, trisomy 21, include EA, and they know that that is a genetic condition. The life expectancy with someone with EA is normal unless it is with another life-threatening birth defect. Some complications that will occur with EA are acid reflux, esophageal stricture, tracheomalcia, breathing issues, dysphagia, and issues with swallowing. These will affect the child or adult every single day and they may or may not all occur. It could just be one, or it could be some of them. So a child can have acid reflux and breathing issues or issues with swallowing, but some of these can be corrected with surgery or with medication or observation from a doctor.